Hello and welcome to the video. In this video it's all about this thing here. This is the TBS Crossfire Nano receiver. Now for those of you that have been on the channel for a while, you'll know that I already have a complete channel that's pretty up to date with all of the Team Black Sheep Crossfire bits and pieces that talk about what it is, how it works, and all of the tips and tricks as well. Now this receiver has only just come out, but it's out of stock already, and in this video I want to kind of give you some tips and tricks about this specific little receiver, because it's an awful lot cheaper than the other receivers that we've already looked at, and it's an awful lot smaller and lighter as well. So for those who want to use the CRSF protocol for super low latency connection to their racing quad, but want to keep the weight and also don't have a lot of room, then this is a fantastic choice. So in this video, let me very quickly cover what it is, how it works, talk about updating and how you configure it, and then we'll talk about some tips and tricks with this little guy at the end. So the smallest receiver that we've had up till now, if you're a TBS Crossfire fan, is the Crossfire Micro Receiver V2, and that's the one that we saw in the other videos on the channel. And this is about half the size, but an awful lot lighter. It weighs about 0.5 grams. That's the receiver only. Then you've also got the cable for it as well. And in the packet, you get the Nano receiver, you get the micro receiver antenna. There's actually two versions of this that you might find kicking around. I managed to get my hands on one of the regular versions with the standard antenna, but there's also a special edition that comes with the Immortal antenna instead. So there are two versions around. So this is the regular. If you want the Immortal T antenna with it, then buy, if you can find one, the SE version. You get a little bit of heat shrink to go around everything when you've made the connections off. You get the connection wires themselves and one 4-pin header if you want to use servo style connectors inside your model. Now I'm actually going to solder the pins onto mine for the demo here, but for really tight builds you'd probably just solder the wires directly onto these little pads. Now the manual for the Crossfire Nano RX is pretty good. One of the things you'll have to do is update your Crossfire transmitter if you want to use this so that it can support it. Now in the manual it talks about what you want to do is really use version 2.24 or later, but I'd recommend using 2.25 or later, and I'll talk about why that is in a minute. Install 2.25 or later onto your transmitter module. Again, it's one of those things that you might have to make sure that you're looking at the beta or the unstable versions just to get the latest and greatest. Once that is on the radio, then put the Crossfire module into binding mode, power up the receiver, and if it doesn't start immediately binding, just press the button briefly and everything should start binding up. And just like all the other receivers around, it'll then do the smart thing and it'll actually update the firmware onto the receiver. Once that's finished, then configuration is exactly the same as all of the other Crossfire receivers too. You'll see the slightly different name coming up in the Lua script on your radio, but if you go into that, you configure it just like you would the other micro receiver. Again, there are 4 outputs on here, so it'll support S-Bus, CRSF, all the other protocols. And if you wanted to use all the 4 connections that are available on this little chap, then you can use that as well. In the manual, it also shows it has the SDA and the SCL lines as well. But for a lot of pilots, what they'll be doing is connecting as a CRSF connection into Betaflight for their little racing quad. Couple of tricks to mention here. First of all is use version 2.25 or later. In the manual, it talks about using version 2.24 at the moment. There is a problem with 2.24. If your radio wasn't set to open region, then it would struggle to flash the receiver. So if you are set on anything apart from open region on your Crossfire and you are having trouble flashing the Nano, then try 2.25. That should sort you out. Another really cute trick is that there's been some real work inside this little fella to make sure that you cannot screw the firmware up. So you can go back to the previous version of firmware. So say for example you flash a version of firmware onto the receiver and it's doing something weird and wacky and you want to go back to the last version that you were happy with and was working okay, then you can do that because that older version of firmware is actually stored on the Nano receiver. And to replace the firmware that's currently running with the previous version that's stored in memory, then press the bind button as you power up the receiver. Then once it's powered up, then press the button again, and it'll replace the current firmware with the previous version that's stored in memory. Be careful when you're soldering the Nano up as well. If you look at the Nano from the side that has the connection from the antenna, you'll see that there's lots of little legends by each of the outputs. Now those are not screen printed, those are actual contacts going down to the ground plane. My advice would be do all your soldering from underneath the board, and that way if your blob of solder gets a little bit big, it's not going to jump over and potentially short out the soldered connection that you've just done with the ground plane on the board as well. So just be very careful with that. My recommendation is once you've done your wiring, just get your little ohmmeter out and test that there is no short circuits between the ground pin on the output and any of the other outputs on the board before you plug it in and try and flash it for the first time. Last little tip, I have heard very occasionally you'll find one of these little fellas that won't bind at all, and you press the bind button once, it'll be red, press it again, it'll be green, and you can really struggle with it. If you find that that's happening on yours, contact TBS and they will sort it out for you. So hopefully that's interesting for those of you that are TBS pilots. These things are like hen's teeth. At the moment, they are very tricky to find. Talking to Trappy, it sounds like they manufactured enough to what they thought would last them the best part of a year, and they sold out within an hour. So if you can find them online and you want one, press the buy button, get hold of them, because I imagine it'll be a while until we see them around again, and I think every time that TBS make these things, they're going to sell out pretty fast. If you found that video useful or like the content, then please hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you want to go the extra step, you can become a Patreon of the Painless 360 channel and help provide support for what I do here. All the videos created here are put into playlists, so if you're interested in a particular topic, have a look at the playlist, and they all are organised in there to make them easier to use. If you're not sure if there's a video for your particular problem or topic you want to know more about, then add Painless 360 to the Google search term that you're interested in, and that should find the video, article or content about the particular thing that you're interested in having a look at.